Hello and welcome everyone to the Midnight Overwatch this evening. And this is for the weekend of September 6th, 2025. And this is a special health report that I'm doing with Bob Gilpatrick. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we did the introductory on this. And this is going to be a series we're going to be discussing. And as you see tonight, holistic nutrition, old and new, what's in it for you? And we're going to be covering that topic, nutrition, and Bob will be going along as we progress with the series, highlighting different aspects of these new technologies and how you can benefit from this. Anyway, Bob Gilpatrick, Bob and I have been doing interviews for over 10 years and on different platforms. Been very interesting and always a lot of fun. And I always learn something. And he is a master of holistic health and different topics along those lines, and is also the CEO of Boomers Forever Young, a company down in Florida. And he has done quite a bit. He has an extensive background in healthcare and research and all types of varied topics. But he is an expert, and his business is a brick and mortar business, set up with employees come in every day, the whole thing. And he's been doing this for many years. Anyway, for all those details, I'd probably be best to have Bob himself tell you. Bob, how are you today, and how are things going down in beautiful Florida where you're located, sir?
Things are going really well. Thank you. Thank you, Phoenix. And it's that time of year we're starting to get very pleasant. It's no longer blistering hot here in Florida, and we can begin to really enjoy the benefits of having warm weather at a time of year when it's getting cold, for those of us who want that. Some people like living in Alaska, and that's great. I actually just got back from a trip to Alaska. It was really beautiful. And I actually met up with a Boomers Forever Young customer who lived right in Anchorage that I got to visit with and go for a hike with him when I got up there. So, but in Florida, things are going well. We just got an announcement yesterday from the governor regarding how in the future they're going to be allowing for more flexibility and options and choice in regard to vaccinations. It's going to be really interesting to follow along, as we go. But things are going well. Thank you.
Very good, very good. And the first in the series that we're doing here about nutrition, that's your forte. I mean, that's a big thing because you offer new things for that very niche, very important building blocks of nutrition. What exactly did you want to go into on this topic? And you know what? Before we even do that, why don't you tell people what your company does, since we're going to be talking about nutrition?
So we're going to be talking about holistic nutrition, and we thought we'd talk about the old and the new, and what's in it for you. And so we'll get into that. And our company, Boomers Forever Young, it's now been 14 full years, going on 15 years. We've been in business down here in St. Petersburg, and we specialize in providing nutritional supplements that are a much higher therapeutic value than the average, vitamins and amino acids you buy at the health food store. We have unique one-off products that are made for us by very advanced scientists that have come up with new inventions. They have new patents on these products, and they've selected our company to be their distributor. And so as a result, we are able to help many thousands of people to restore their health. The typical person that comes to us is somebody who's 40 years, and older, on up to 100 years. We've helped a person who was 106. And the reason they come to us is they can remember what it was like to be healthy when they were 20 years old, but they know they're not that anymore. And so they're looking for advanced solutions that can help them get there in a way that doesn't break the bank, right? They need to be able to afford advanced high level products, or otherwise it's no good to them. And so that's what we've always been able to do, is give people very, very good products with explanation with our customer service. So we actually answer the phone, and the ladies that answer the phone have been with me for 8 years, I believe, is about the average, and they they're very knowledgeable about our products and nutrition in general, and we have lots of great testimonials about that customer service. And we have recently, Phoenix, as you know, taken on a new line of products that are based in an advanced science called epigenetic reprogramming, and that's the new we'll be talking about. And once we get a little bit farther along, I'll explain exactly how that new concept works, what's been patented so far, and what kind of tremendous benefits people can get from these newly patented products.
Yeah, that's very cool. And to stress and tell everyone what Bob's going to be talking about here, this is very exclusive. You're not going to find it anywhere else on any other program, or you're not going to find it on Amazon or looking for what he's about to talk about, because they are the only distributor in the entire world right at this time that has access to to some of these products, which is very, very cool, very neat. But anyway, Bob, you know what? Let's get right into it. Let's dive right into it. Nutrition.
Yep.
This new nutrition, the standard, the things people don't know, and the new technology that's out there that you're part of. So, sir, you have the floor.
Yeah, so most people have heard of holistic nutrition. There are different schools that people can go to and graduate from and have a certification in holistic nutrition. And when you read the introductions to the books that have been written about it, they talk about being able to understand and address each person as a whole person, not just a body that needs fuel and vitamins, but rather a living, breathing, conscious person who is a very complex, sophisticated, biological organism that has emotions, has physical needs, and has a spiritual life. And how do we address all the different aspects of nutrition so people have the best chance of being in super good health, have really great functioning brain that has all the neurotransmitters that are needed, has the right electrical potential in their brain, so their emotions are healthy. And in addition, with a healthy body and a healthy mind, you tend to be optimistic and generative and evolutionary. And this is the type of person that tends to have a really good spiritual life, is one who has a foundation of their body and mind. And part of the spiritual life is to treat your body as a temple that houses your consciousness, that houses your godness. And this is the approach that holistic nutrition, professes to take. And so what are, some of the benefits if you do this right? How is it going to benefit your life? And one of the first things is you're going to be able to detoxify your body, because based on the nutrition you take in, you will either be adding to your toxic load or you'll be helping your body to detoxify. And when a child is born, they have somewhere around 450 different toxic chemicals in their blood. And as they age, they accumulate even more. And so once people discover holistic nutrition and they realize they can start getting all those toxins out, they and they start to feel a lot better as they do. A lot of things change in their life. They're physically more capable. They are more emotionally stable without a toxic load. And they feel more like participating in religious and spiritual activities that can go along with this newfound set of feelings. So that's one really important one. The other is that this is a way with the right nutrients where you can actually reduce your rate of aging. And so human bodies that are alive for 80 to 100 years old have very visible signs of aging. People have lost muscle. They have gotten, their skin has gotten very wrinkled, and they're literally kind of at the end of their life for the reason of oxidation. So we're living in a very highly oxygenated environment, and oxygen can rust steel, and oxygen also can dissolve our body over time. Essentially, that's what's happening. Is we're aerobic life, and the byproducts of aerobic life are burning us and dissolving us. And over the course of 100 years, we can no longer maintain this type of life, this third dimensional life, because all of our internal organs, our bones, our muscles have literally been burnt up by oxidation. So holistic nutrition nowadays has the capability to slow that rate of burn, so that when you get to be 100 years old, you haven't been burning yourself up at that rate. You've been burning yourself up at 1/5 that rate, 1/10 that rate. So you can still be very intact and healthy at 100 years old. And that's very important, because the average person worldwide, Phoenix, when the last 9.5 years of their life on average, they're living with some type of a disease or multiple diseases that have debilitated them and taken away from their quality of life. And so with holistic nutrition, we can narrow that gap. So if you're going to live to be 90 years old, maybe it's only the last year of your life or the last 6 months of your life where you might be feeling sick. Okay? And so very important to know that holistic nutrition, using antioxidants in that nutrition, can slow that rate of burn. And the other benefit is, if you do it right, you can maintain your muscle all throughout your life. So people essentially are aging at the rate they're losing muscle. And when you have an evaluation for a life insurance policy, one of the things that they do is they check your height and weight, and then they measure your waistline, and they'll also do blood tests to try to figure out how fast you've been losing muscle. And based on a marker for inflammation, they can tell how fast you've been burning yourself. And they know within 3 months on average when you're going to die. So if you're 50 and you go for a policy, they can tell you if you're going to die at 85 and a half or 85 and 3/4. And it's highly predictive based on these aspects that are modifiable. And
Now,
so we know.
real quick,
Yeah.
Bob, what are the accuracy percentages on that?
Can you
Because
say that again?
a lot of people are probably like, what the heck? What are the percentages of accuracy on those stats that an insurance company does?
Yeah, well, their average accuracy is 3 months. So for some people, they peg it, within a month or 2 weeks, and others they might have pegged it within 6 months, but the average accuracy is 3 months.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Continue.
There's actually a gentleman that's been on a lot of podcasts who used to work for the insurance companies, and he lives nearby me in Sarasota. And he's billed as the man who knows exactly when you'll die.
Oh
Right?
gosh.
And yeah, and then of course, his whole thing is he has his own nutrition company to try to help people to live longer with happier lives. And he came from the insurance industry. Really, really smart guy. And
Hmm.
someday, if I get a chance to meet him, I'll let him know about the best nutrition products that are working to help people to live longer and have a longer health span that he doesn't know about yet. He doesn't know that our company has products that are many times more potent than the ones that he has. But
Hmm.
we'll get around to that at a conference one of these days. And so if people are looking to use holistic nutrition to be healthier, absolutely you can with the right combination of nutrients. Make sure that you don't lose muscle as you age. Make sure that you can slow your rate of burn. Make sure that you can constantly restore the powerhouses of your cells. And I'll give you a really good example, Phoenix. When when people have trouble with their eyes and they get an eye disease called macular degeneration, especially with the type they call dry macular degeneration, it's a progressive, debilitating type of disease where you lose your eyesight over time. And up until just recently, there was no way to restore it. But
Mm. You
about
know,
2 months ago,
real quick, I know somebody who's had a parent, I think, that had that, and he used to have to go and get injections in his eyeball. Have you ever heard of that?
yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my!
yeah.
I mean, when I heard about it, I'm like, hard
Yeah.
pass. No, I don't want. I'm getting having a
Yes.
needle stuck in your eye. Literally, it was like
Right.
it was a childhood like rhyme or something mockery. I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you do not
And
want to get this,
yes.
people.
Oh, yeah. And so what's there's a new invention for dry macular degeneration. It's a red light therapy that has to be administered by a doctor, an eye doctor, and they've been out for about 2 months. And you can see on the on one of their websites, you can actually see the pictures of the person's photographs of their eyes and their macula. You can see the improvement that this therapy is making. And it is what it's doing is it's restoring your mitochondria. So what happens with dry macular degeneration is your mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of your cells, stop functioning and they're no longer producing electricity. And so the rest of the cell kind of dims off. And now you can't use those cells to see. And it progresses over time. But what they found out is that you can actually restore those cells. You can restore the mitochondria, okay? And you can do it with a very specific waveform and pulse of red light that's administered at a doctor's office. And I'm bringing somebody tomorrow at 2 o'clock to one of the first centers. There's only 3 in the state of Florida that can do this technique, and it's only been available for a few months. But I'm driving someone to that center for their first evaluation and hopefully their first treatment tomorrow. And
Wow,
so we'll be able to keep people updated on that. It's the first time in forever that there's been a treatment that with the promise to restore people's eyesight with dry macular degeneration.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And so the point about it with holistic nutrition is um, those mitochondria, okay, need to be tended to. Your mitochondria have to be preserved. and mitochondria are highly susceptible to inflammation. So we have to know with our holistic nutrition how to protect the lining of your mitochondria and also how to feed it. And there's a whole process for doing that. And if people can follow along with the right process, makes it very unlikely that their mitochondria are going to blink off to begin with, right? And then they thus have to be restored, right? And so when you also follow along with good holistic nutrition, you're going to have more energy. You're going to feel more energetic. You won't be the kind of person that goes to work, drives home, trudges up into their house and collapses on the couch and hopes that somebody doesn't ask them to go out and do anything because they don't have the energy. With good holistic nutrition, you can be up and about at any age, for as long as you want to, and enjoy your full life. We have a gentleman that works for us, Phoenix, who helps out on the phones, and he's going to be 90 years old on his next birthday. And he's up and about, going and doing things. He still goes out fishing and hunting, and really enjoys talking with people on the phone that are the customers of Boomers Forever Young. And he's not slowing down. He's ready to rock and roll every day.
Well, it's very good.
He was on a meeting with us at 8:30 this morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So the other thing is that just in general, different things that happen to people as they age. As you age, people tend to get heart disease, they have a stroke, they get cancer, they get Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, and all of these things are lifestyle type diseases. For the most part, unless there's a specific genetic thing, these are adult onset diseases that are being caused by environmental toxins, toxins that you take in when you eat, inflammation because of what you eat, inflammation because of your stress level, and that type of thing. And so if you want to be the person who lives to be 100 or 106, like one of our customers did, and you want to be super healthy and not have a heart attack, not have a stroke, etc., then this is going to be information that you'll want to be able to take advantage of. Yeah. The other thing is that when you have more energy, you're much more likely to exercise. And a lot of people believe that exercise is a panacea. It's a panacea for health and wellness. And it is when used in combination with holistic nutrition, but you're much, much more likely to feel like exercising, which will help you build muscle. It'll help with all of your metabolic processes, and it's easy to be able to take in the nutrients nowadays that give you that capacity.
Very cool.
So, if we just look at, the part about diet, what are we actually eating? So to begin with, it's still true that about 25% of all the calories that are consumed in the United States come from drinking soda pop. Now, that's starting to change a little bit. People are switching over to drinking different types of drinks, but you better be really careful because a lot of them have just as much sugar as the soda pop does. The other really big thing, which is huge, which is being addressed right now at the federal level, is eating processed foods. So foods that have had preservatives added to them, foods that have had coloring dyes added to them, tend to be very, very toxic. They have trans fats in them, which are almost impossible to digest. High fructose corn syrup, for flavoring, hormones from the way that some of the animals are raised, antibiotics that are in the food because it was given to the animals, and of course, loaded with pesticides as well. All of these things that are in food that people purchase at the grocery store are highly, highly toxic and bad for your health. And this is what is being addressed now at the level of the FDA, the CDC, is what are we going to do to clean up our food supply by starting with, highly processed foods. And a really good thing is they're being able to start out with school lunch programs, especially the state of Texas has already passed their legislation and has already started modifying their school lunches so that the children are healthier, are more alert and energetic after lunch, and not subject to massive amounts of sugar and the like. And so we're in the midst of a big change as to how people are consuming food, but still right now, a little over 50% of all the food that's consumed is highly processed foods, which we know are extremely toxic. And so the person practicing holistic nutrition instead is going to eat foods that they're going to cook themselves, and rather than purchasing it in the frozen food section, and are going to be eating whole foods and some specific foods that have been processed, but have been processed to actually make them better. And that's a big thing, Phoenix. All processed foods are not bad for you. Some processed foods are actually the best thing on the planet that you can consume.
What? Okay, like what?
Yeah.
Give me an
Yeah,
example,
so
Bob. That sounds pretty wild.
yeah, so for example, sprouted barley seeds, right? We have a product called Gladiator barley. It's an ancient seed line, and it is grown in farms in northern Canada in soil that has been highly processed, meaning it has had all kinds of really good nutrients added to it, including good bacteria, earthworms, special organic fertilizers that have 100 minerals in it, and the soil itself is processed. Then the seeds are harvested, and then the seeds go through an extensive processing system, right? So the first thing that happens is the seeds are sprouted in a processing facility, and they're sprouted all at the same time. So every one of millions of seeds all sprout together within 1 to 2 minutes of each other. That's a highly, highly
Wow,
beneficial process that's used.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and so the reason is that you're going to harvest those sprouts at a specific point, and you don't want the sprouts to be all over the place. You don't want some that have been sprouted today, some tomorrow, some the next day. They're not the same. So you need a technique of processing that makes them all sprout together. And then once you do, you identify where the point is that you want to make them stop sprouting, because as a sprout evolves, the chemical composition changes dramatically. It's digesting protein, it's producing thousands of enzymes, it's producing amino acids, and it's producing antioxidants like superoxide dismutase. And you need to know when it's at its peak so you can stop those sprouts from sprouting. Now, you don't want to kill them, you just want to make them stop sprouting. And so there's another processing technology that makes all those sprouts stop. And it's an organic technology, right? And so once the sprouts have stopped, they immediately begin to deteriorate, right? Because they're exposed to oxygen. But now you can take another technology and stabilize all the nutrients so the oxygen won't deteriorate them in 10 minutes time. If you put a sprout out on the counter, it looks totally different 10 minutes after you've cut it, right? It's like avocados, they turn brown really fast. Same thing with apples. That's oxidation, right? But there's a processing technology that that prevents that oxidation. And it prevents it for years, right? And so you can take that product and grind it up into a fine powder in an old-fashioned stone grinding wheel, which is a process. And at the end of the day, you have a jar of nutrition. It's technically barley, but it's sprouted barley, and it's been through a processing system, and it's been rendered 400 or 500 times more beneficial than it was when it was in the form of grass or even the seeds themselves. That sprouting process and the manipulation of it in the processing center is what made the greatest superfood in the world. Okay. And so they say there's processing and there's processing, just like there was a dentist named Doc Holliday.
And yes, it was. Very true.
So that's part of what what the whole issue of diet is all about. First, you've got to get rid of the bad, and then you have to have your particular balance. So if you look at all the diets that are out there, there's this diet, that diet, keto diet, carnivore diet, vegetarian diet, vegan diet, and each person needs to figure out for themselves what's going to be best for them. And some people are very allergic to certain foods and they don't even really know it. And so one of the things people can do that's very helpful is they can get a book. I think I've got one right here. It's called The Virgin Diet, Virgin, and the author's name is J.J. Virgin. And she's a really famous and successful holistic nutritionist. And she has a really great book about how to discover which foods are toxic for you and which ones you should focus on instead. And if you're a person that needs to cut down on your sugar, she has a companion book that's called The Sugar Impact Diet. And between those two, you can really get a good sense of which types of foods are good for you and don't fit you. Everybody's genome is different, and no two people are alike in regard to which foods are best for them. The other really important thing that people have to look at is what exactly do you need to do, for example, to help prevent the major things that are killing people, right? So heart disease. And Phoenix, we can do a whole program later about heart disease, but in general, with holistic nutrition, that includes antioxidants and all of the chemical compounds that are needed for your Krebs cycle, meaning how do you produce energy? Because your heart needs a tremendous amount of energy in order to beat. And so the mitochondria, there's 300 of them, or more in every heart cell that you have. And they need to be functioning at a high level for your heart to beat properly. And so holistic nutrition will tell you, okay, in order for that to be effective, we have to first have antioxidants. And second, we have to have the chemical elements that drive the metabolic pathway that produces energy. So we know you need vitamin B1, B3, B6, you need coenzyme Q10, right? And so a good holistic nutrition company will have a product that has everything that's needed in there for the health of your heart. And we created a product called Boomer Boost, which is the name, it's the main name of our company, and that product has 66 different nutrients in it, and designed around what the needs are for your heart muscle to keep it healthy for as long as you live. And that is what true holistic nutrition is all about, is looking at the anti-aging aspect, and also looking at the preventive health aspect of nutrition. And you also want to be able to look at the whole issue of stress, because we always tell people, Phoenix, you can have the best nutrition in the world, but if you're under stress, you are probably still going to be sick. And there's really good reason for that. There's a phrase they say, stress kills. Well, it actually, literally does. Over time, if people are under moderate or severe anxiety, background anxiety, you're going to produce a lot of inflammation in your body, which is going to lead to different types of diseases and problems, even if you're very young. Okay, so sometimes we'll get calls. I have one that just came in that I have to answer later today about a young child who's 9 years old is already having trouble with their intestines. Okay, their large intestine, their small intestine, and the doctors they don't really know what's wrong. And all they could say was, you're going to need to change your diet. And we'd like you to eat more fruits and vegetables, right? So, that's pretty lame, right? It's like they don't know what it is. And so that's the best that they have to offer, right? And now it could be that that child is under tremendous stress. Did anybody ask him about that? How are things going in school? Is he being bullied, right? How are things at home? What's going on with his family life, his mom and his dad, his brothers and sisters, right? All of those things could lead to tremendous stress in a child that will manifest in the alimentary canal, a stomach ache, an infection in their small intestine, a spastic colon, right? Oh, and children at a very young age can experience these types of things. And so when you are a holistic nutritionist, you want to look at that whole child. Now, you might not necessarily be able to provide everything that child needs, but you can be kind of the gatekeeper. Hey, my name is Bob. I'm a holistic nutritionist. Yes, your child should eat more of this and less of that. But what else is going on? Because maybe we could find somebody to help with the other things that are going on in your life, right? Yeah. Who knows what might have happened to that child? Might have been something happened where he was breached and had to be born by a cesarean section, and his cerebral spinal pulse was interrupted by the sudden change in pressure upon the incision. And they need to bring him to a craniosacral therapist to reestablish his cerebral spinal pulse. Right? So there's many things that need to be attended to, as many factors that have to be considered. And then for adults, for example, we find tremendous benefit from a very old holistic nutrition intervention called ashwagandha. And ashwagandha comes from a root, and it has many different properties that are beneficial, but the main one people experience is they feel really calm afterwards as a result. And we have lots and lots of testimonials from people that are looking at this product and giving us testimonials as to the efficacy of it. And so it's a really valuable thing to know about. That's one of the old that we were referring to, Phoenix. And the other product that we know helps quite a bit with helping people stay calm is turmeric, right? And we put those together in a combination, and people can actually get that. Right now, here we are, on the 6th of September. If you make your way to our site, you can get a product called the Calm Down Combo. at a dramatic discount that is both ashwagandha and turmeric together in a combo pack. And so those are both very old, interventions that have been around for many, many years. And then you have equally powerful, and in many ways a lot more powerful, new inventions that are still plant-based interventions, just like the barley, which has been around for 5,000 years. But now, because of the scientific processing capabilities, you can have barley that's 400 times stronger than the barley that the gladiators ate that made them so strong, right? And now you can use ashwagandha and turmeric. But now, in addition, we have a product called Myotrol. And Myotrol is plant extracts. But in this case, it's much more than just taking ashwagandha root and turmeric, because they were able to identify the exact molecule in the plant that was going to activate a specific gene. And we now have technology, space age type technology, where the human genome has been mapped and is in a computer system, and you can introduce to that system a chemical composition of a molecule from a plant, or even one that you synthetically create. And the computer will tell you which gene will be activated by that molecule. Right? If you can actually get that molecule to the surface of the DNA and actually splay it open so it can be copied. That's a big, big if. But luckily, there's new technology of purification, of solubility flip, and other things that make it easy now for someone to take a pill, and the compounds that are going to activate those genes they survive the digestive juices of the stomach. Those compounds get absorbed into the bloodstream in your small intestine. They're able to get right into the bloodstream. They travel in the blood, and they get into the capillaries. They're able to move from the capillary into a cell. Now, once they get into the cell, they hone in on and penetrate into the nucleus of the cell, where the DNA resides. And the DNA, after these different gauntlets, the DNA itself is wrapped in a protective protein sheath, and that molecule has to ping that sheath in exactly the right place in order to splay it open to allow the genes to be copied that are desirable genes to be copied. Right? And that technology now exists. It's available, and it's called epigenetic reprogramming, and it's nutrition. These are extracts from plants, right? It's a nutritional supplement that you can take as a pill form, and it was designed to help people build muscle at any age, to help people have really great energy at any age, and to have clarity and focus and good memory also at any age, and motivation to move and do things and accomplish things. And so we now have one pill called Myotrol that does those things by design. And we've had a few thousand people use it already in the 1 year that it's been out. And we have hundreds of testimonials from people that have written in the dramatic results that they're getting. And so this is part of the new, right? They're old plants. The plants have been around for thousands of years, but the way that they've been processed is new, it's beneficial, it's powerful, and it's highly, highly therapeutic. And each of those plant molecules have long ago been deemed safe for human ingestion by the FDA. And so these are not pharmaceutical drugs. They don't have to be pharmaceutical drugs, and they don't have to go through an FDA process to say, oh, the combination of these three plant molecules is safe. They're each individually safe. And this type of epigenetic reprogramming nutraceutical is now available. That's the first one that was ever made, was for that purpose: muscle, energy, and brain-derived nootropic factor. So I've been using it myself for right around a year, as well as many people I know and many of our customers who I don't know, because I don't know all of our customers. There's too many of them. And pretty soon, the second ever reprogrammer will be coming out. It's been worked on for a few years. The first one, Phoenix, took 6 years to develop. And this next one didn't take as long. A lot of the processes that were discovered are now being applied to new opportunities. So soon we will have available a new product that will help people to regenerate their joints. So a big aspect of aging and neglect, if you're eating processed foods and too much sugar, is people will get arthritis and their joints will wear out and they'll need replacements, knee replacements, hip replacements. But we're now going to have a new epigenetic reprogrammer that will stimulate the genes for making cartilage. And you'll be able to make new cartilage as if you were 20 years old again.
When will that be available, Bob?
The best estimate is the first week of October, but you never know. It is a one-off product. It's brand new, and first time that the manufacturing company has tackled putting this type of product together. They've done a really great job with it. It's tested already to make sure there's no pathogens in it, and they're in the process now of bottling it. And once they bottle it, then they have to pull some bottles off the line and test it again to make sure nothing got contaminated, during the bottling process.
What were the trials like for that? Do you have any results on the clinical trials?
Yeah, so there's been, I would say, quite a number of people that have involved in the first part of it. I was one of the people, and I was typical. And for me, it took about 4 days to notice the result, and it was dramatic. On that fourth day, I suddenly noticed that I could continue walking a lot farther than I could before without my knee swelling up, because I have no anterior cruciate ligament in my right knee, and I have a torn cartilage in my right knee. And so exercising with my legs always causes inflammation in that knee. And after 4 days, that stopped. I could continue walking basically as far as I wanted to without any swelling. And I've had 4 other people that have had the same experience after 4 days. And some was dramatic, to where one lady, just notified her doctor she wasn't coming for her knee replacement. And another who had begun thinking about a knee replacement, who after 4 days felt better enough to stop considering it. Another lady just recently, pain in her knee was exacerbated by a 6-week trip to Europe, where she was walking a lot in Greece and Turkey and Italy, and came back unable to climb the stairs to get into her condo. Her knee was so swollen. And she too, she started the product on Saturday. Today's Thursday. So about 5 days, her knee is, in her words, 95 to 97% better. So what's happening is the people's pain and swelling is going away, but over the course of many months, they will actually rebuild their joints. So as part of this product, there is a new strategy for pain relief that was actually created by a pharmaceutical company, where they figured out how to block an ion channel in the spinal cord that was registering in the brain and registering for extreme pain. And they developed a drug to block that channel and got FDA approval on it. You can now purchase it. And they've designed it to take the place of opioids. They're going to be using it post-surgery and for other types of severe pain. And Eric Kurtz, the creator of these epigenetic reprogrammers, followed along with all that research and figured out how to do it with a plant extract. And he included that in the new product for joints.
Wow.
And and so that's what people are experiencing. This is this analgesic effect. And the other part of the effect is will take time for the cartilage to rebuild. It'll take 2-3 months before it's significant. And who knows how long before it's back to when they were 20 years old. We don't know that yet. But we do know that dozens of people in the trial have gotten significant results. I don't know anybody who got 0 results. Everybody got significantly better.
That's interesting because that's not normal. That's an anomaly.
Yeah. And so we have to kind of get used to this because there never have been epigenetic reprogramming nutraceuticals before this time. These are the only 2 that are available in the world. And so there's no data on this. And it may become the norm that when people take these reprogrammers, that it works for almost everyone. And we found that with Myotrol. We have a few people, I think we had 2 people that returned their Myotrol. One was a person that had upset their stomach. This is out of thousands of people. And another person said that it made their knee hurt. This is the muscle building. Now, he had been golfing, so for all we know, you do a lot of twisting of your knees when you golf. So I'm not so sure that it was the Myotrol, but he had an association with it, and he sent it back. So we have 2 people that have returned it. And we have a few people that have said, yeah, I noticed a little bit on my focus and concentration got better, but I still need some more energy. But for the most part, 95% of the people were just raving about it. And we had only seen one other product before this time, Phoenix, that worked that well that often. And that's our sleep aid product we created about 5 or 6 years ago. And that one works 95% of the time as well, but it's not an epigenetic reprogram. And so this is where the science and the current state of the art of holistic nutrition is evolving to. You want to be sure that you can, address your circulation with the right nutrition. You also want to make sure that you can address your digestion, because most of the fuel you have is going to come from food, some from the sunlight. But you want to be able to make sure you can digest your food properly, especially as you age. So you have to know about digestive enzymes, which is part of holistic nutrition, where you take these pills with your meals and you have the right amount of acid and digestive enzymes and pancreatic enzymes in order to make that system work really well and not get indigestion or, gastric reflux disease type of thing. And you also have to pay attention to absorption of your nutrients, because as we age, we have trouble absorbing nutrients because they're absorbed for the most part in these little hairs that are in your small intestine called villi. And they're normally intermixed with a mucus. And as you age, that mucus begins to turn to plaque, and it will smother those villi and make it real hard to absorb nutrients. So you could eat the best diet in the world, but still be malnourished. But we do know that there's a compound in our sprouted barley seeds that clears that plaque out of your small intestine and restores those little villi. Their primary compound is glucosamine. So they can actually regrow, and you can absorb your nutrition as if you were much younger. So this is part of holistic nutrition. The whole body needs to function, including your digestion and your absorption, but you also have to be able to circulate it, right? So it's nice to have nutrients get into your blood, but you have to circulate it all the way out to the tips of your toes and your fingers and up into your brain. And unfortunately, as people age, their circulation drops off. So you need to know which nutritional compounds help with your circulation, like arginine and citrulline, which we put into the Boomer Boost product. We need to know how inflammation damages your circulatory system and how to make sure you get trimethylglycine and superoxide dismutase from a combination of the Boomer Boost and the barley in order to keep the inflammation down in your endothelium. And we also know you can use mechanical devices. There's a circulation mat that people can get to lie on that improves your circulation by 30% by lying on it for 16 minutes a day, 2 sessions of 8 minutes. And so our company helps people to get those mats if they need extra help with their circulation. And so you want to also know just in general about nutrition. There's macro and micronutrients. We talked before about different diets. But in general, people need to have good fats, good carbohydrates, good source of protein. All of those 3 types of compounds are very important for your body to function properly. You want to consume them in the right ratios for your body. Some people eat mostly fat and protein and very low carbs. Some people eat mostly carbs and do well. But it really behooves you to know which carbs, how much of which, what combinations, so you make the proteins that you need to make. And another crucial element to holistic nutrition is probiotics, because of the probiotics in our gut, okay, are constantly fermenting fiber that has been consumed and is throwing off what are called metabolites or molecular compounds coming from that process. And the reason is all those metabolites are used for our body's processes and systems, including our neurotransmission. And to a large extent, without the presence of bacteria and fiber in your gut, you wouldn't have consciousness. You wouldn't have enough of a balance of your neurotransmitters to even be able to think, much less know that you're alive, right? And so, people have to understand all about probiotics, which kinds, what type of fiber, and if you're lucky, you can actually get those metabolites, which is what you're actually looking for is the metabolites. We have a system where we have done for you metabolites. We mimic the lower alimentary canal with a process in a processing center, and we use our sprouted barley seeds, a special mineral water, and good bacteria, and we make those metabolites in a vat that we then dry out, stabilize, powderize, and you can actually consume those metabolites with a scoop of powder in a glass of water, and they'll be absorbed right in your small intestine, go right into your bloodstream, and it bypasses the need to constantly be worried about the right mix of bacteria in your gut and how much fiber of which kinds do you have so that you can produce all these metabolites. And that's one of the new things about holistic nutrition is there's now a process invented that allows you to have done for you metabolites. So you can find those right on our website. They're called probiotics with metabolites. You can find them on the site.
Hey, Bob, we are at the end of the hour. We have to wrap this up. Speaking of your website, why don't you give everybody contact information so they can reach you, find out more about, what you do, what you offer, and some of these things we've been discussing today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our offices on Central Avenue in St. Petersburg, Florida. We've had people from Phoenix's show stop by to visit with us on many occasions. In fact, I owe a phone call to one of your listeners, Phoenix. I'm going to be calling him today. And you can call us on our 800 number, which is 861-4609. We're at 5401 Central Avenue in St. Petersburg. And Phoenix, if you want to tell them how to find us on the website. Last comment.
Yeah, you can go to patriotintelreport.com, click on the lady in the blue lightning storm on the left-hand side, and they'll get you right there. Bob, how about some closing thoughts and words of wisdom before we roll out of here?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Phoenix. So holistic nutrition is an interesting subject. There's a lot to it. People study for a long time to get certified in this and then practice for years to get good at it. We do that, and we also own the company that produces the products which become the cornerstone and the advanced aspects of holistic nutrition, so that in one place you can get started on a journey towards super health, where your body will be very energetic and healthy, your emotions will be balanced, and you'll have the capability of being resilient, and you'll just feel much happier when they have good health. And we can definitely help you with that. If you call that 800 number or go on our website, you can find our total health systems, our dynamic combos, all the other products for digestion and sleep, etc. You can find that Calm Down combo that I mentioned. We have other detoxification technology, including zeolite, and we've helped close to 20,000 people, and we've been in business over 14 years, and we're keeping on going. And anybody that would like us to help them, we'll be overjoyed with the opportunity to help, especially for listeners to Phoenix's show.
Very good, Bob. Thank you so much. Well, it's great information, and we'll be back a couple more weeks, everyone, to continue the series. And, of course, this evening was nutrition, and there's a lot of exciting things we're going to get into in the future. Bob, I really appreciate it again, sir, and thank you so much.
My pleasure, Phoenix. I'll look forward to our next time.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so will I. So that is it, everybody, for Midnight Overwatch and the health report from Bob. This evening. Again, like Bob said, and I've said this many times, it doesn't matter what you have your health. You have nothing. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. So it's a very, very important topic. And maybe if you're not feeling bad, someone else is, you can help them out. Share this information and get it out there. Anyway, that is it, everyone. We're rolling out of here. And until the next Midnight Overwatch and the Health Report, everyone be well, be healthy. God bless, and Phoenix and Bob out.